Welcome to Dadsplaining, a weekly chronicle of all the weirdest, messiest, grossest, and funniest parts of fatherhood, hosted by two first-time dads. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Brandon.
And today we've got a treat for you guys. We are going to be talking with indie game developer Aaron Smith about his new board game, Sheeple. Aaron has described the game as a family-friendly, fun game, lots of puns, lots of stuff that's friendly to dads. Embarrassing their family with bad jokes.
Right up our alley.
So we're going to enjoy that. But before we do, Brandon, if our listeners want to reach out to us, where can they find us?
You can follow us on all major social media. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Dadsplaining Podcast. You can drop us an email at dadsplainingpodcast@gmail.com, and you can find our episodes anywhere you get your podcasts.
Awesome. So, like I said earlier, we've got a guest on the show today. His name is Aaron Smith, and he's on the line with us right now. Aaron, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Doing great over here.
Yeah, we're excited to talk to you. So, I wanted to just kind of kick off with, where did you get the idea for this game? How did it come about? Just take us through the history of it.
Yeah, sure. So, game design has been a hobby of mine even since I was a little kid. I was drawing mazes and stuff. But I was a good buddy of mine, Ryan Hennings. I was hanging out with him and his family over Christmas, and Ryan and I had come up with a bunch of games before, but we'd never come up with a party game. So we're kind of bored, and boredom is the father of creativity or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're like, hey, let's come up with a party game. So the game at that point was each person writes down 5 items on a list and writes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and depending how they match up, they get points. And we just gave it a placeholder name, Go Bananas. And like, this isn't half bad. This is kind of fun.
Uh-huh.
And somebody pick somebody just make up a category for fruits or something, and then people write that down. And that was all right, but I play tested with some other family, and it kind of did so. But I came up with the idea, like, what if you could write down unlimited things? You just had a minute. You could write as many things as you wanted. Mm-hmm. And I play tested that with a group, and it was with my girlfriend at the time and my cousin and his girlfriend at the time. Mm-hmm. And actually, that worked out pretty well. And we found it worked out even better. He would only score points if other people also put the things down.
Okay.
We found it worked even better if only 2 people put something down. They would get double points, because that's like a more unique thing, whereas the more common things would get 1 point. Mm-hmm. So anyways, that was pretty fun, and I was looking for like a logical party name for that. So what were you thinking? Seemed like a really logical name. Uh-huh. So I looked that up. I'm like, that's a cool name. I looked it up. Richard Garfield had already come up with a similar game called What Were You Thinking? It was similar to the first version where you put 5 things down.
Yeah. And
a little bit different.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, oh, man, I can't use that title. But I am thinking, at least I'm thinking along the same lines as Richard Garfield, one of the greatest designers who came up with magic cards and,
not a bad
tons of money.
Coattails to be on, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. So plus was I'm thinking like a game design genius. But the bad thing is I got to come up with a new name for my game.
Sure.
So I was thinking about this, and I was at the time I was kind of checking out different conspiracy theories and whatnot. But I was also reading. I just read 1984, and I just read Animal Farm by
George Orwell.
George Orwell, yeah. So anyways, in Animal Farm, the animals are going from I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but they go from 4 feet to 2 feet. Mm-hmm. And it's a sad book about communism, but it kind of all these things kind of inspired me, because you're thinking alike as other people. So I was like, what if you called the game Sheeple?
Yeah, I love that.
And then you're going from being a sheep to being a person. Mm-hmm. And then instead of in kind of a political, depressing way, it's actually, instead of humans thinking like sheep, it's sheep thinking like people. So it's actually a step up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of, and then I was working with a artist, Justin Adrie, at this really cool video game studio. It's not around anymore. It's always unstable in the video game world, but
sure.
Businesses come and go. But he was a really cool artist, friend of mine, concept artist, and I asked him if he could do the art for this, and he's totally down. So
nice.
So I got to be art director as well. And it's kind of like you get some art, you say what you want, you get some art back, and then you get some feedback, and then you do that until it looks about right.
That's awesome. So tell me something, Aaron.
Yeah.
Who would you say that the game is for? When you were coming up with it and creating it, did you have a certain player in mind? You know, an adult, a kid, parents, adult friends at a party, that kind of thing.
I mean, it's kind of for everybody. I definitely, if anybody picks up the box at a store, they're going to say this is a family game.
Mm-hmm.
It's bright, it's colorful, it's family safe. Like I made sure all the categories, you know, nobody's
Yeah.
nothing too crazy out there. But the thing about the game, when you actually play the game, like, I think everybody falls in love with the art a little bit, but especially kids.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Even as old as like 12 or 13, I've always play this game, or like a 10-year-old boy or a kid will be like just looking at the beautiful art and like the funny sheep cartoons and the all the puns. And by the way, one reason I wanted like to be on your guys' podcast, Dadsplaining, is like everybody. I love puns, you know, but everybody calls them dad jokes. So
right.
like, well, also a lot of my social media following is 25 to like 42-year-old, like 2/3 on the male side.
Yeah.
So a lot of dads. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. All the puns.
Sure.
Although on the Kickstarter, it was probably more 50-50 actually. But yeah, anyways, that's so I thought this is something that like, yeah, so kids love it, but like when you're playing the game, so there's totally balanced rules. If you play with kids, because it's write as many things down as you can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For adults. And that's my favorite way to play, because for me, it's a brainstorming challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what I'm sneaking into this game is like, it's a party game. People get together and play for fun, but my secret evil plan is to actually make everybody more creative and more smart. Because I take improv classes and like rapid coming up with things on the spot really quick, I think is where a lot of creativity comes from.
Nice.
So,
yeah. I like to see.
When you're playing with kids, you only get to put, if it's younger kids, you only get to put 10 things down on your list because they can't write as fast.
Sure.
Really young kids can write symbols. They actually kind of come up with it almost looks like hieroglyphics, but it's like little kids that they can't write very well. You just let them draw pictures. It works great.
I like
and
that
then
a lot.
if they're more middle school age, like 15 items, and then adults unlimited. But when you're playing with adults, I want to say it's not just for families. When you're playing with adults, it's a blast too.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can write more things down. It's kind of how you're learning about other people based on like what kind of things they put down, and like you're naturally, even in a family safe game, you're going to get more adult kind of jokes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I also have these like and it's something I came up with for the Kickstarter because I saw another game, Exploding Kittens, do it. But there's an angel deck, which is all Christian categories people can buy if they want. And then there's a devil deck, which is all not safe for work categories.
So it's customizable.
More like Cards Against Humanity kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, nice.
That's awesome. So,
yeah.
It sounds like you've, how do I put this? It sounds like you've gotten there was a lot of inspiration in your head. Meaning you've played enough games to kind of know what people enjoy. So I guess what I'm wondering is, did you play a lot of games growing up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like growing up, like obviously I loved like Monopoly. There was this other game, Solar Quest, that was fun. It was kind of like Monopoly going around the solar system.
Oh wow!
Neat.
And this girl, my mom's roommate's daughter, so she was kind of like my sister growing up. We used to play a lot of games together.
Yeah.
Or there's like this old dungeon crawler game called Dungeon. I love doing mazes, and I found video games really fascinating. That's actually my day job. Well, I'm getting back into video games as a day job.
Nice, very cool.
Board games are amazing, and maybe it'll be my day job at some point. It's kind of been for a while with the Kickstarter, but like, need to make some money right now. Like, this could definitely take off in the future, but it's definitely a takes a little while to get everything going.
Oh, sure it does. Well, I noticed in the comments.
I love making video games too. I'm like, the creative curse is like, there's like 10 things you want to do, and you can only do one at a time.
Oh, yeah, no, I know the feeling.
Exactly, especially if you sometimes want to do a podcast, and you think that's a great idea when you have new kids.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to do.
Oh, yeah, exactly. The fact you guys have time to do that, have time to do anything, having kids.
I'm sure our wives would say we don't,
yeah.
but here we are.
Here we are. Well, I noticed, Aaron, in the comments, we've got someone listening in named Robin Harris, who was a Kickstarter pledge for your Kickstarter, and noted something I didn't realize, that you guys you set a $10,000 funding goal on Kickstarter, and you actually met it. So congratulations for that. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're happy to talk about it. I know that Jesse and I, we've been friends for a while, and we actually enjoy playing board games together when we get together. Certainly before we had kids, playing with our wives, we would get together, and boom, you've got 4 people, which means you can play just about any kind of game.
Yeah.
But, Jesse, what kind of games did you like growing up, Jesse? Anything in particular?
So I was my family, we were definitely a Monopoly. We got into Yahtzee, things like that. But it was all about card games with my
like
family.
Uno or like what?
Uno, Skip-Bo. I don't know if anyone knows.
Sorry, did you just make that up?
No, Skip-Bo is a real game.
Yeah, sure it is.
It's a real game.
Yeah.
Okay.
See,
okay. I'm sorry.
This guy knows what I'm talking about.
In stages. Yeah.
Yeah. I really don't remember the rules anymore. I feel like it was a little bit like Uno, but more complicated. But that was one of my grandparents' favorite games that we would play with them. We would actually take it with us on vacation, and play it on rainy days, when you couldn't go out to the beach.
Nice. I remember playing War, just 2 people, and you're just throwing cards back and forth. Played that in the back seat of the car. It was hours and hours. You just constantly keep going back and forth.
We did the same thing. I remember my best friend in high school was really into Stratego. And one night,
that's a good one.
Yeah, we spent a good, we spent 8 to 10 hours playing a single game of Stratego at one point, and I really resented him for it because I wasn't into it as much as he was.
Is that even possible? My God,
yeah.
It's like Risk but easier. Is how I kind of always thought about it.
Yeah, but what Brandon?
I gotta tell you about Stratego. Sorry to interject.
No.
I was playing my dad one time, and I just have to share this because I'm so proud of this one move that I was probably 10 or something. And he had like his number 1 or number 2 guy. It's like the lower they are, the better they are, and those are really valuable. And he's like starting to like pillage my back, field or whatever. But I had a mine there. So what I did, it was right next to this piece. I grabbed the mine piece like I was thinking about attacking. But then I decided not to, and I set it down, and I moved another piece. So I baited him into thinking that was a normal piece.
Oh, gamesmanship. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I always really loved Sorry because it had the mechanism where if you got onto somebody else, you bumped them back to the beginning again. There's something deeply satisfying about knocking people off the board.
Yeah, the more competitive you are, it seems like the more fun you get out of those games where you can really screw people over.
Yeah, well, I had a brother only a couple years older than me, so of course competition was just a daily habit.
That's awesome. So Brandon and I'm trying to think. So Brandon, we've played Pandemic together. We've played Settlers of Catan. Catan or Catan?
Sure. Potato or potato,
yeah, exactly.
And oh God, what's the one we play? Oh, Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride, yep, very fun. You got different versions as well. Yeah, I really enjoy the either cooperative or ones where like everyone is single playing against one another, but you're all working off a kind of a similar board, like Ticket to Ride. Pandemic cooperative is a lot of fun. We've played Flashpoint, which is kind of similar to Pandemic, but it's about firefighters, helping out a house. Betrayal at the House on the Hill, something of that nature.
The Haunting of Hill House or something?
No, that's
like
a Netflix episode, Haunting of Hill House. Betrayal on the Hill is, I think, a board game. I'm slightly messing up the name, but that is quite fun where it's got different scenarios that you kind of play out.
I like that one.
At the end, so I'm really into the more cooperative style. Like, Aaron, what kind of more adult-themed ones do you enjoy? Do you more cooperative? Do you still like the more puzzle-based? What do you like to play these days for yourself?
Oh man, everything.
Easy answer.
All the co-op games are great. There's even a co-op game I'm designing. I have a million like little things on the side that I want to get done eventually.
Sure.
I have a game called The Killing Game that's like going for like the horror genre.
Yeah. Not family friendly.
To
okay.
get out of a Well, you can either play co-op or competitive, so you can go either way with it.
Nice.
And it's like there's different trap rooms. It's like Saw meets The Cube, if you've seen those movies.
Oh God, The Cube is terrifying. Yeah, don't pay attention, kids. Don't listen, kids. Don't listen.
I don't think we've got any children listening right now. So tell me this, Aaron. What is next for Sheeple? So you've met your fundraising goal. Where do you go from here?
Okay, from here now I'm making the game, and there's that old saying. Well, I don't know if it's an old saying, but I got it from working in video games. That the last 10%, like you get 90% of the way there, and you're like, wow, I'm so close. But the last 10% takes another 50%.
Oh yeah,
and I'm such a detail person. I want everything to be perfect, but you kind of want to, and it's about to get printed.
Yeah,
so,
no, I know the feeling.
I picked the manufacturer. There's a whole game of like how many copies are you making, and what's trying to figure out what the quality is going to be, and reputation and whatnot. So I found a publisher with a really good reputation, reasonable price. It's just 500 copies. Like 10,000 maybe sounds like a lot, but it's still a small print run.
Nice.
500. About half of that will go to fulfill everything with the Kickstarter people. Half of that I'll just continue to sell, and it's not big enough for distribution, so you got to start.
Right.
You got to start humble. You
Sure.
Gotta, hitting up game stores and probably just selling to friends and family, gaming conventions once in a while. An agent discovered. And then I'm also I just finished. Fixing all the little details on the board, little things that are, you played the game for many years and it seems fine, and then you start zooming in with your eye and you're like, oh, those little things that the artist did to save time, and you got to go back and fix it now.
Oh man. So
that took a while. Now I'm doing the same thing with the box. And there was earlier prototype art, and there was something that I'd done for a long time that seemed perfect. And then now I'm getting feedback from people, and I'm making the box even more vibrant and saturated, so it really pops out on the shelf and really makes people want to play it. So just doing those little things and trying to finish up pretty soon, because I've got some job interviews in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
Try to
Yeah.
get this all wrapped up.
Yeah.
But it's good for me to have a deadline, honestly, because that's what
Of course.
gets things done. So yeah, and then there's going to be shipping and fulfilling, and
Right.
I've gotten quotes from different companies, and it's going to be lots of spreadsheets and figuring out
Yeah,
the best
definitely.
option for everything.
I'm sure.
And eventually just either continue it to sell myself, or option B, an agent found the Kickstarter game, and we've started working together. So he was pitching it to a lot of game companies in New York.
Okay.
At the New York Toy Fair.
Nice.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that was cool, and he loves the game. He said some really big names were, obviously I can't name names.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Some of the really big names you guys have probably heard of most of them. Were interested, and they're evaluating it right now. So
Okay. All right.
We'll see if that leads to something
Yeah.
Initially, I was thinking self-publishing is better because you make more of the money. But
Right.
to be totally honest, I've spent more money than I made so far. Cause
Yeah.
game reviews and printing and marketing and everything, it all adds up.
Well, you're wearing a lot of hats too. Just in terms of the labor, you're having to be your own publicist, your own developer, your writer, all of these
promoter,
things. Yeah, exactly.
Everything exactly. Yeah. I've probably learned as much as taking a MB in college or whatever whatever those are called. But definitely learned a lot. But
couple of things you mentioned that I really like. I like seeing games coming in at the bit of a cheaper price point. You can't charge $5 for a board game. There's a lot of pieces involved, right? But sometimes you see the really complex ones going for $60. And they have tons of pieces, so I get it. I don't want to discredit the value behind it, but I'm a guy that really likes to play and try different board games, and that can be a barrier sometimes if you're just a junkie that wants to keep trying to play new games and you don't want to shell out $50 every time. So I really like seeing something that's a little more entry level, a little easier to kind of pick up and you play it. and you've got an opportunity to try it out. It's not like anything else where you can go to a Blockbuster and rent a board game. It's still a little bit more of a niche kind of a market. So I really like seeing something that's pretty affordable.
Actually, there's one board game store that you normally can't rent board games. There's actually one lady I met. She runs a game store. She actually rents board games, and she says it actually works for her really well. But
that's a novel idea.
I haven't seen that anywhere else.
Yeah, that's another thing that I really that you kind of brought up is like I really like finding that the gaming culture is picking up. Maybe I just run in a small circle and I just don't know it in my bubble.
No,
but
it is, though. It definitely is.
I feel like it is, right? And I feel like as kids, we graduated out of that phase and we're like, oh, we're never going to play board games again. That was silly. But now as adults, we're coming back to it. I kind of enjoy more than anything playing a board game on a weekend and just having a good time with that rather than doing many of the other things I might have thought were as interesting. It's just a lot of fun. You can play with a small number of people. You can play with a large number of people. And I like finding more physical places that offer some type of gaming. So game stores are, less nerdy, more cool now and hip, and finding places that have games. I know near me, where I live, kind of outside of Atlanta, there are some places that are popping up where now it's like, okay, it's a restaurant, but we're also kind of more flavor with the board games. We've got game nights. We've got different kinds of things that they're bringing in. That's been really exciting to see.
Oh, yeah.
It's super exciting. Yeah, there's been a number of things. I think that Kickstarter has helped a lot of people get their game out and suck all their friends and family into this. And then just other things. Kind of the nerd culture's become cool thanks to Game of Thrones and Big Bang Theory and other things.
For sure, two of my favorite shows. Whatever.
Also, just the fact that everybody growing up with these games as adults and now buying them.
Yep.
Yeah.
You kind of have the same thing with barcades. Certain cities have a lot of barcades, and it's
right. Yeah. The gaming arcades and all kinds of
we've got
cool
a couple
things
of
like
those
that. Yeah,
here in
seeing those places is just really cool to see that kind of culture, and they're very popular. There's one near my house that's incredibly popular that I wouldn't have maybe anticipated when it just opened up. I'll give them a shout out. They're not a sponsor, but it's called My Parents' Basement, which is just a hilarious name for a restaurant. But obviously it's like a restaurant / comic book store / they have game nights, Mario Kart, whatever you're doing. They got some board games. It's just it's a whole variety. And good food too. They know their business, right? We're adults. We like to play board games. We also like to drink. You also like to eat. So you're just kind of mixing all the good stuff together. When I was growing up, we would do weekends of board games and we'd get pizza, and we couldn't drink when we were kids. We did not drink. Underaged. Definitely didn't. But yeah, that's what you would do. You'd gather with friends and you'd hang out, you'd eat, you'd drink, and you'd have a good time.
Mm-hmm. So, so Aaron,
and it's also we've gone there's so much social media and all that stuff that it's kind of nice to just
disconnect.
Connect over a physical board game and
exactly. It's not a screen. That's the nice thing about it.
Yeah, do some IRL gaming, as the kids say.
It's analog, kind of.
Right.
There we go.
Exactly, not digital. So, Aaron, we got a lot of questions in the comments. I don't have time to get to all of them, but one caught my eye. Robin asked, "Can you tell us about your promotional Sheeple rap song that went viral on YouTube?" This is intriguing. Tell me a little bit about this.
Absolutely. First, I got to say, shout out to Rockin' Robin. Yeah, man, Rockin' Robin is a good buddy of mine. We just met online while I was, promoting, doing the Sheeple Kickstarter, and he helped me promote it quite a bit.
All right,
super cool guy. Yeah, the Sheeple rap is it's a 1-minute rap song about Sheeple that I wrote. I was kind of getting into rapping for a little bit, and it seemed like a good way to promote the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to perform it for you guys if you want.
Well, I was thinking so that you don't have to do it from memory. I can actually, if you don't mind, I can grab it off of YouTube, and that can play us out. I'll edit it in post. How's that sound?
Oh, yeah, if you want to do it that way. Yeah, I'm happy to do it either way, but yeah, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, I see it right here.
Nice. So Jesse, are you thinking we need to have a rap
I'm thinking
to
we
go
need
viral? I think we do.
Rap-splaining.
For sure.
That'll be our next episode.
Rap-splaining, that'd be cool.
Perfect. We're on our way, guys.
Yep. So, Aaron, now that we're kind of coming up on the end of our time today, but let our listeners know, where can they find more about Sheeple?
Sure. So, if they go to sheeplethegame.com, that'll take them to the Kickstarter page that has all the information. Tons more information than they could. Tons of information, and there's a link there if they click buy, and then that it was actually going to take them to a spot where they can put the money down.
Mm-hmm.
And this game's going to get manufactured pretty soon.
Okay, so it's a pre-order.
Initially, in the Kickstarter, it was supposed to get done in May. That might still happen. It might be a couple months late. I don't know. There's kind of delays when you're trying to make everything perfect, But,
right.
It's coming together, but if the short way to get there and to buy it is Jetpack. This website jetbacker.com/Sheeple.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of that. That's interesting.
Okay, yeah, we'll share out the links for sure. And you know what?
Yeah, and if they can check, they can go to A. Smith Games on any social media almost.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Well, good.
Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and that's got more information. A. Smith Games.
A. Smith Games. All right. Well, folks, if you're listening, we're going to have all of those in the show notes today. So be sure to check the show notes for all of Aaron's links and links to where you can find more about Sheeple. Aaron, once again, thank you so much for coming on with us today. I'm really excited about this, and I can't wait to see where you go with it. And hopefully one day soon we'll be seeing dads and folks of all ages kind of gathered around the table playing Sheeple together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Thanks for having me on, guys. I also want to give a shout out to both my parents, but my dad, like when my mom passed away, like my dad was there for me. And that's another reason I wanted to be on your show. Props to all the dads out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. No, we definitely appreciate it.
Don't always get the credit and thanks and everything that you deserve, but very, very important thing in life, having a good dad. So. Oh yeah. And not everybody gets that, and people don't have a good dad and they end up in gangs or who knows what, but you need that foundation. So. Oh yeah, one of a kind relationship.
We will take 1 year's worth of credit for being dads ourselves for just over a year, and then we will give the majority, like 99% of the credit to dads who have been doing it for years and years.
Yeah, we've kept our kids off the streets so far. We'll see how it goes from here. Well, Aaron, thanks so much for coming on the show with us today, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. That was fun. Yeah, and if you ever want to do this again, maybe when the game actually comes out, I could shoot you one and.
Oh, we really love that. That'd be great.
Do another one of these.
We would be happy to do that, and who knows, maybe it could be a good opportunity. If we get a copy, we could raffle it off to a listener. That'd be a fun thing to do.
Awesome.
That'd be cool too. Yeah.
Now here's a rhyme about a party game we call Sheeple, about some sheep who wanted to be treated more like...
So that's going to do it for today's episode of Dadsplaining. Once again, Brandon, if our listeners want to reach out to us, where can they find us?
You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Dadsplaining Podcast. That's where you're going to find all the links from the show today. You can drop us an email at dadsplainingpodcast@gmail.com, and you can find this episode and any episode anywhere you get your podcasts.
Awesome. So, Brandon, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, we are going to talk about tantrums, or just your kid breaking down in the middle of the grocery store and you awkwardly edging away, pretending you don't know them.
Awesome. So until next time, I'm Jesse.
And I'm Brandon.
And hey, Brandon, did I tell you about my friend, this girl that only eats plants?
No, what's her name?
Oh, I can't believe I haven't mentioned her before. Herbivore.
Oh, okay. It took a long time to get that one.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys.
On a blue space, things get intense, cause the first to graduate from the university wins. Sheeple, the party game that's sure to make you leap. On sale for $25. Dirt Sheep. So lend a friend a hand and you'll feel a bit smarter. And make a pledge for Sheeple now on Kickstarter.